Okay, today we're talking tiny people and their brains. How do they work? How do they reason? What happens actually in their brain? Not their minds, their brains, when they have the big feels and they're really little and you're trying to explain things to them. How do we work the way of the reason and the way of the will into little people tantrum land? Let's talk about it. I feel like I'm kind of glowing right now. The sunlight keeps coming out of a cloud and now I just look like I'm going to give you all the wisdom about tiny tantrums. Hello and welcome back to The Commonplace. My name is Autumn. I am wearing the exact same dress as the last video because I record videos back to back and my husband will make a comment about it. So just so he knows, I know I'm wearing the same dress. But anyways, today we're gonna talk about the weight of the will. So on the podcast last time we covered, I hear my dog. All right, so we only have 4 minutes on my camera. I think we can do this. Let's try. All right, so when you have a small child, because we were talking about the way of the reason, and if you missed the podcast, what you need to know is that your reason is a yes man, a hype girl. Whatever idea you accept from your will, your reason will work very hard to find a way to tell you that you were right for doing so. And so with a tiny child, you will see this. You cannot out-logic them. You cannot out-reason them. You cannot say, no, actually your carrots are just gonna be this orange. I can't do anything about it. And they go like, oh, okay, I'll stop crying since you can't change the color of my carrots. That doesn't happen with young kids. They will just keep going because their reason is confirming to them that they are right, while your reason is confirming that you are right. And so what you need to know about the brain of a child, and I'm using brain to talk about the actual organ in their mind, how it works in their head, I guess. Not their mind, not like their reason, their judgment, their imagination, their personality, their humor. That's mind. Their brain is actually at work and growing tremendously in the early years. And so something that is very helpful for a parent to understand. So there are two types of tantrums in a child. The first is what happens in their upstairs brain, which is the part that's able to do cognitive reasoning. It's when they decide to throw a fit because maybe they want something. And you know that if you said, hey, actually, do you wanna go get some ice cream? They'd be like, ice cream, and stop crying immediately. That's an upstairs brain problem. And that's where you can actually just connect with your child very quickly and move through however you teach, however you discipline, whatever it is. But what I want to talk about in this next 3 minutes is that there's a downstairs brain, and it is more of your reptilian brain. When it takes over, your child can no longer access their upstairs brain. That's actually really important. So when you have a child who's just losing it, and it's not that they can stop in the moment. They're very upset, they're very emotional. A lot of parents wonder, how in the world do I teach you to reason now? How do I work with that way of the will? What happens right now? The first thing you need to do is actually stop and connect with your child. You will never regulate them without connection. They will never hear what you are teaching them. You will actually just be talking to someone who cannot process what's happening because essentially they've gone into fight or flight mode. That's really difficult for a child. So what you need to do is stop and connect. You can teach later. I used to feel like when I was a mom I was a younger mom than I am now with really little kids, littler than now. And I used to think if I didn't teach right in that moment, we were gonna miss it. We were gonna forget it. I wasn't doing my duty. But actually I needed them to actually be in a place where their will could learn a better idea, accept the right idea. And so connecting first calms them down. Hold them. If a child needs to go run outside, if a child needs a couple minutes, if a child needs you to play with them, something to connect with them to bring them back to baseline so their upstairs brain actually comes back online, and then you can discuss things with them. Then you can teach them, hey, that idea you accepted, not in those words. That was a bad idea to accept. What would be the right idea? What would it look like to live that out? How does that connect to our family rules? How does that connect to how we live? And in that way, you're actually able to teach a child when they're receptive to it, as opposed to just reasoning against a toddler who's way off in a tantrum land. So I hope that's a helpful tip, just a little one for today. I'll see you guys next time.